Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend DG Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Remember, Lilith, this is all your fault. That's right, kids, because if you've been paying attention, yes, we're in the middle of Sub-tember. And as I mentioned, no The Devil You Know, the Daredevil podcast this month, but in its place, because Lilith can't stop us, the two-part Wonder Man podcast on the 90s series. So, yes, joined by all the old men, myself, Phil,
Yes.
Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast, Will.
Hey, everyone.
You got Justin the Owl Osgood from Gamma Charge, Tomes of Evil, and coming soon, the last week of the month on We Are the Night, the Batman podcast.
That's right. I'm added to the lineup on We Are the Night.
And from the last week of Ultimate Spider-Cast and every other show podcast on planet Earth, Ray.
Hey, hello, everybody.
You may know Ray from his hits such as
My favorite character.
I'll never live that down.
I hear that like 10 times a show.
because you asked for it, Will.
I
You
don't
and
know.
Lilith. I don't know who asked for it more. You and Lilith. You're like, yeah, play the drop. Yeah, Will. Wait, who's Ray's favorite character? Who?
That's definitely the most popular drop.
Especially if anyone's talking DC, they're like, oh yeah, and then who swoops in?
Dearing
My
me.
favorite character.
So yeah, we get that out of the way quick, you know.
Well, that escalated.
Yes, that I hear a lot as well, because things do escalate on Capes. I've got to say.
Yeah, Ray tries to act all innocent on his shows. Or I hear a lot of, oh, Connor, it's not so bad. All right, so yes, I guess we should start going on this because yes, two-part Wonder Man series. So episode 1, we're gonna be covering the
Yeah,
first
baby.
15
That's right.
issues in the first annual. So, but before we get into that, Ray, I know you said you were doing some research on the writer because Will and I did run into this when we were doing like those early 90s issues of Green Lantern because he did write the
Oh,
those
yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
And Guy
Yeah.
Gardner.
And Guy
Yeah.
Gardner. Yeah,
Justice
because they
League.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't have those on the DC app because
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously for those that don't know, Jared Jones has been imprisoned. He's 6 months out actually before he's released finally after 6 years of so crime. I don't know if I should mention the crime or not, but anyway, so he actually has a prison blog. I kind of looked it up, and he I'd say almost daily. I didn't really notice, but I read the latest entry, and obviously he sounds reformed and wanting to help others that have the same, shall we say, addiction. So yeah, it's just an interesting thing because having reread this whole Wonder Man series and just really loving it, and we're all going to get into it. It's kind of a shame and a little just off-putting as well about what eventually happened to him. I mean, just jumping straight to the final, if I can, Phil, sorry, just the final writer's notes at the end of the whole series. He actually even mentions as well, I've got to stop it. I love Wonder Man, but I've got to stop it. I've just started a family. I'm reading that going, yeah, but, not that long after, something takes a turn there. What happened, Gerard? So he's got a blog, and yeah, he's due for release within the year.
Yeah, again, his books are good. I get why they don't want to like reprint them or put them on the apps or anything.
Yeah,
but I'm just
absolutely.
like, it's just such a shame that like the rest of the creative teams aren't getting their
Right,
due
the
and their
artists,
money and
I like your idea of Phil
Oh,
of doing it, like collecting it, and then just giving the proceeds to, to a charity or something. So that would be great.
Absolutely. I like that
Yeah, I
idea
mean,
too.
it's so weird because Green Lantern Mosaic is one of those things that we talked about quite a bit, and it's such an important series for Jon Stewart that hasn't really had a lot of important series, but it's this big 18-issue series that does so much with him, and then it
doesn't get attention, and it doesn't.
It was immediately.
I've never read it because it hasn't been reprinted. Yeah,
it was immediately ignored because of Emerald Twilight and all that stuff,
yeah.
and then it just has never gotten the attention. Although I think it's getting a lot of attention, at least some story beats and plot beats from Jeffrey Thorne, the writer of the current Green Lantern series. And you've got this Wonder Man series. There's a lot of books that I love a lot that he has written, which I'm not quite sure how to feel about that. It's an interesting.
Well, that comes up a lot at times anymore. Like some I won't mention names, but some current writers, it seems like they're
Bendis. Sorry.
No.
Just came out there. Just slipped out.
Who are you, me? I'm not talking about hacks. No, I'm not talking about hacks. No, I'm just saying that there's some people who have been accused of maybe not full out racism, or it's just
Well, and I ran into it too. I mean, I did my dissertation on Warren Ellis. And his work is extremely important to me, extremely important to crossover division. I mean, it's a big influence on crossover division, and now.
Yes, Ray. Yeah, yes, Will's comic. Yes, good.
Ah, cool.
He's got to read that. I love it.
Oh,
but it's,
keep an eye out there.
And a friend of mine, he's like, Kevin Joseph, the writer of Tart. We do Explain Yourselves on Friday nights. Joss Whedon is such an important writer to him because of the work that he did. But again, how it's really difficult to separate the artist from the work sometimes.
It is.
Well, that's like these podcasts. I'm so happy, like when I talk to someone who I've been reading for years and years, and like they turn out to be they seem at least they seem like a nice person. I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, that is good.
J.M. DeMatteis, that was.
Oh yeah,
he's
great
awesome.
guy. D.G. Chichester, great guy. Mark Wade. I mean,
Peter David. Just the list goes on.
Yeah, he just calls Charlie a dumbass, but yeah.
Friend of the Green Lantern show, Ron Mars. Sorry.
Oh, Ron Mars.
We talked to Ron Mars too. He's great.
That's right. Yeah. He's good, but so I mean, the Wonder Man series, I think anyway. I mean, it did kind of. I mean, we're going to go through just the first 15 or so, right?
Yeah, the first time, yeah.
But it goes through some really cool stages, distinct. But I think it really ties together well anyway. It's not like that's all been disjointed.
I mean, you got to give it to him. He does kind of keep an even keel, even though within these first 15, there's 2 crossovers in these.
Yes,
right.
2-3 issue crossovers. Yeah.
And I think he does really well with them in generating a story of its own whilst being part of the crossover. So, you can fall into that trap of just being fully invested in the crossover, and then so any casual reader that would read those issues would go, what the hell is going on? There's enough there that it's a pure Wondy story. So yeah,
and it has Quasar. So
yes.
Oh
yeah.
Yes.
All right, hold on. I have the clip here somewhere.
Oh,
Hold on. So many pages. And half of them will Hellfire drops.
Lilith, yeah.
What about our podcast, The Quantum Zone?
Yes.
I remember when Ray used to send us weekly feedback, Will.
That's too long ago for this
that was
old man.
Quasar. Oh, yeah. What?
Got that DC app now. Okay, so again, we're all old men here. Did everyone read this in the 90s when it was coming out, or did anyone come to this later on?
I didn't read all of it in the 90s. I got about halfway, and then being a youngin, the attention span drifted and went elsewhere. But yeah, no, it was great. Not that. I meant other titles. Titles. Yeah. But how about you guys? Will, you read it all, and I think Justin, you read it all in the 90s.
I actually read up to the Infinity stuff.
Yeah,
and then
I think that's where I got. Yeah,
I hated that crossover at the time, so I dialed out of all of that stuff that was going on. That was for those few months. So yeah, I went back later on and read actually the last 4 issues I hadn't read up until just this weekend.
Yeah,
because I think those had low print runs or something. But
yeah, they're pretty hard to find.
I didn't see them, and I tried looking for them to buy, and they were really expensive. I was like, wow, what's going on here? So low print run probably, but those were it was a treat to read those last 4 issues for the first time.
I remember getting the series. I think I was working at a comic shop at this point. This would have been like 93, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in 93. I don't remember reading the second annual ever. And that might be because that might be for other reasons.
You blocked it out of your memory.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But I was such a Jeff Johnson fan. I mean, such a great artist.
Really good.
And just the look and the feel of this series was just that poster from the first issue. I mean, we'll get there. I know.
Yeah, I love that poster. Yeah,
I had that up on the wall just because I thought this is freaking awesome, right?
Cool. Yeah. I love that.
Oh yeah,
I mean
that first issue, you get that poster, and you get they just jump into the middle of a fight with Goliath.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jeff Johnson, I think him and Gerard Jones also worked on an Ultraverse title together called Solitaire.
Solitaire, yes, I remember that.
Which ran for I think it was a 12-issue series, and that was really good. So I'd recommend to anyone who's looking for this creative team again.
Yeah,
is that Marvel? Was that Marvel? Or?
That was Ultraverse, Malibu.
Malibu.
Oh, Malibu. Malibu. Yes. Yeah.
And then Johnson we also see Johnson pretty regularly over in post Emerald Twilight Green Lantern.
Every so often Green Lantern and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. I think the art across the board is great as well. Was it later on? Was it Derek Robertson as well, or
I think he did an issue, and then Tim Hamilton.
Tim Hamilton.
Yeah, those last 4 were like Tim Hamilton. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Derek Robinson did the first annual.
That was really good. Actually, I like that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Well, yeah, of course, Ray loved that first annual. Stop naked.
Well, I loved it because Simon was naked at the end of that.
Yeah, exactly. All his clothes tore off. Yeah, exactly.
Derek Robertson draws a great naked Wonder Man.
But I mean, like I said, the first issue kind of sets up everything real quick in between bouts with Goliath. It's like, we introduce Ginger and
the support cast is really cool. I like it, and Jones kind of gets them in really quickly straight away. So Ginger, her brother Spider, you've got Alex Flores, the writer I think she comes in a bit later though. But also I never remember her name. She's part of the Crazy Eight. She was the landlady. She was pretty cool.
Yeah. Gloria? Was her name Gloria?
Gloria, yeah. The ex kind of Hollywood beauty or something. She was so really cool. I think support cast, and I think for like an enjoyable series, generally you get the heroes with a decent support cast, and these were great. These were great regulars. It was interesting to note.
Smarmy agent guy. I forgot what.
Yes, Neil.
Yes,
is it Upton or something? Yeah.
I liked him too. He was a good comic relief guy.
Ponytail and all. It was.
The '90s ponytail.
No, he was good, and we get the introduction. It is a longer arc, but with Lotus. We see her. And,
the gang boss who loves to be naked. Yeah.
I mean, openly just using her sex appeal as well to kind of curry favor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot out there in LA. Maybe she didn't have AC.
Well, and I think I was probably a little when we'll get there in episode 2 of this, but I was a little shocked at her connection to a villain at the end, and then
That was surprising. Yeah.
and then her ultimate fate too was kind of like, oh, okay, they just did that.
That was
quick.
that was quick. Yeah, yeah.
That escalated quickly.
That sounded exactly like the recording, Justin.
That escalated.
Well, I wonder. I mean, does it seem like almost like maybe if they didn't know if they were going to get past issue 25?
I think
That's
kind
kind
of
of like what it felt like to
Yeah.
me too. Like they
Like
were
maybe they were
wrapping up a
wrapping
lot
stuff
of
up quickly,
plots
yeah.
in that hidden
Yep.
depth story.
a long time ago. There used to be these things called mailing lists that you would get emails and you would talk on. This was like the 90s.
Yeah.
Yes.
I seem to remember that it was the Avengers mailing list. So this is a long, long time ago.
Seems like I'm getting a package every other day.
But I think Kurt Busiek was a member of the list, and
Oh wow.
if somebody started talking about Wonder Man, and he goes, but by the way, he got it wrong because Simon's mom was still alive.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because there actually is like I think it's a CBR article on there. Oh, by the way, Brian Cronin didn't steal this. I guess they said because I don't know if Gerard Jones didn't like realize or anything. So they're like, I guess the whole retcon is just like, oh yeah, Mephisto was just playing tricks on him. His mom's still alive.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
how much can you believe?
Yeah, because it was
Sure.
exactly.
the Vision and Scarlet Witch series. Yeah, like they would go visit Simon's mother, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, and the whole time I was reading the Hidden Depths, I was like, yeah, that's not really his parents. That's just Mephisto messing with him. That's got to be. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
because I think there's like a later on, like towards the end of the 90s, there's some story where Simon even says it's like, oh yeah, Mephisto was like messing with us. I don't know why, but yeah, my mom's still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But, I mean, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no. Sorry. Go on, Will.
I was really enjoying the series. Actually, I read them all yesterday. So
Wow.
I just sat down and went through them. But
Jeez. Yeah.
at the end, I was like, there are plot things that happen. Simon becomes, even more, awesome at the end, right? And and I'm like, hey, this is pretty good, And then I remember finishing that issue yesterday and going, so what happened? Oh,
Force Works.
Force Works
Yeah.
number 1
Save-
happened.
Save it for next episode.
And I was like, that's why we never got to see him. Okay, dang it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so it was from Force Works, and then I connected the dots.
Hey.
It wasn't until mid-90s or late 90s.
Yeah.
Avengers Volume 3.
Kurt Busiek. Yeah.
Kurt
Music
Busiek,
and
yeah.
George Perez.
George-
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
at least he didn't have to go through Heroes Reborn.
That's true.
Oh,
He
I
was
know.
great.
He
Yeah.
was spared. He was spared from that
Yeah.
indignity. Ugh. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Heroes Reborn.
But I mean, the first 15 issues though, Phil, because we know later on, and I guess we will cover this in the second episode, but he goes through some fluctuations, so to speak, or
Oh yeah,
I can't remember if that's in the first 15 already, but he goes through, I really like how Gerard Jones did give him a bit of a reboot, and at the end of it, he gets a new costume as well, which is cool. Doesn't last too long.
Wait, a character in the 90s got a new costume?
I know, and with
You got a long
pouches.
time though without getting one.
Oh,
What do you
yeah.
think what do you think I keep in here? My passport. Right?
Yeah, that's so cool. That is good. Nice little self-reference there. But yeah, the first 15 though, it's as you said, Will, it's a nice setup, and it has a lighter tone to it, I think.
The first 6 before Operation Galactic Storm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even Operation Galactic Storm, I mean, if you're taking that, because I view once he starts learning, once his powers go all kind of wonky, and then once we get to the Savage Wonder Man, then of course, Hidden Depths, I think then we get kind of really dark.
Oh.
But I think before then, I mean, it's a fun romp with Galactic Storm and all that, just even with Vision, that kind of interaction they have together. And Gerard Jones also as well doesn't forget that Wonder Man has like the munitions like background, which I think is really cool because it comes up from time to time in the whole series. So
Yeah, whenever he's dealing with Rampage,
Yeah.
Yes.
He has to acknowledge his part in developing that exoskeleton,
Yes.
or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and I also really liked the reference back to Avengers #9. Where Zemo makes him a living
Yes.
engine of destruction. Which that phrase comes up again and again during the Savage
Yes.
Wonder Man phrase. I mean, it was just and he explains away. It was not a death-like state. He actually explains his power, how he came to be, how he is.
Yeah.
And it was. Dang, Phil, sorry, I just noticed your Avengers cover on the back screen there.
What?
Ant-Man and Hawkeye. I love that.
yeah.
Cover.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But and how he came back, in Avengers, I think it's 150, if I'm stretching back that
Around
far.
there, yeah.
It's around there. But and then the friendship with the Beast. I mean, he just hits all of the stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
What, the bobblehead Hawkeye?
That's a very cool Funko. But yeah, Beast gets introduced early, and he comes around towards the end of the series as well. But it's good to kind of make note of that, their kind of friendship. Yeah, and he kind of plays well off him, I think, as well. I think the early issues of Wonder Man, for me, it was always, number one, always great to see Goliath, Eric Jostin.
Yes.
He was totally unhinged, right?
Completely, yeah.
Totally crazy.
And I have to say, it was such a surprise how Wonder Man defeated him in that first issue by
that was shocking,
flying
wasn't
down
it?
his gullet and beating him up from within. I was like,
Oh,
wow,
that's painful.
this is
It just,
very
yeah.
90s.
Yeah, it just seems painful.
The balls down the gob.
Wow, yeah, with Wonder Man, for sure. But it was almost as well, those early issues, like a villain of the week as well, because we got Splice, we got Rampage.
We got Enchantress.
I love
Oh,
that
yes,
cover
Enchantress
so
as well.
much.
Was there any? I mean, all the
Yeah.
covers were good, but was there any more '90s cover than issue 2?
The best cover. Yeah.
Half naked woman. You got text. You got captions. You got guest stars. West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
You have little plushies of Iron Man and Captain America.
Actually, speaking of covers, all the covers I think were just great, like
Yes.
really real eye catchers. There's one with is almost the what was it, Leonardo da Vinci kind of Vitruvius.
yeah. I think that was my favorite cover. I love that one.
Yeah. So
And then the Hidden Depths cover, I think.
yes,
those
they
all-
connected.
Oh, the
Yeah.
four
Oh,
connected.
yeah.
Yeah, it was
It
like
was a 4-part. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jeff Johnson, he just blew everybody away. I mean, did such great work on this series.
Definitely.
So do you know where is he now? Do you know? Is he still
he's
working?
He's on Facebook. I think he was doing some animation stuff, but he'll post
okay.
to Facebook quite a bit. So he'll do some Green Lantern sometimes. I think he did a Wonder Man not too long ago, which was pretty cool. That was kind of a throwback for him. I mean, that's been 30 years ago, believe it or not.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Justin, you said you wanted to bring up a certain character from issue 3, Gamma Burn.
Oh, Gamma Burn.
Oh, Gamma Burn,
Yeah.
yes.
How funny was Gamma Burn? Okay, this character who is trying to cure PMS with gamma radiation. Only in LA, folks. Only in LA.
And then she goes on a complete tear against the beauty industry
Yes. Yeah.
until she's beautiful again.
And the irony again, like the guy falls in love with Gamma Burn, not her. And it's like,
Yes.
it was
I
it
love
was a
that.
nice little contained story.
He's like, I can find
Yeah.
any woman looks like you, honey, and
Yeah.
your hair. Where's that Gamma Burn?
That was a unique woman there. That was a prize.
Yeah.
And that was the first appearance of Spider Ray.
There you go.
Yep, Spider. Who again? I'm going to draw back to Gerard Jones's closing statements as well. Was apparently based on him. He said that was. He said that Spider was like him, injected into the comics. So it might have just been a boyhood fantasy for him. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I thought he was good. It was very strange that he was called Spider, I think, because you immediately associate it with like Spider-Man or but he was a pretty interesting, pretty fun character. Same with Ginger as well. She seemed to like she was drawn to the danger I think every time it's like, oh, I bet you had a big fight with them, and that would have been exciting being blown up. So, Ginger's so funny. Even just jumping to the annual, there's that little thing. I don't know if you guys remember. She's a bit jealous of Alex Flores, and she's going, "Oh, she's only brain deep. Once you get past that, if you want like real deep flesh, kind of meaningful flesh, then just call me." It's like, and Wonder Man's going, "Do you know what you're saying?"
I remember.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well,
I
then
like
Alex's
Ginger.
daughter,
Oh
Jamie?
yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. She was
Jamie,
interesting as well. Like, I mean, all forming into, we'll get later, I think issue 19, The Crazy Eight, which was a fantastic little kind of side, sidetrack. But Jamie was good. Did anyone see that coming about Alex having the secret to begin with, or no?
I mean, once she started talking about, I have something, and they were doing that whole joke. Something you got from sex? Yeah,
yeah, that's right. And I was thinking, I'm not going there. I'm thinking, does she go? But if one of the, I guess, the little quibbles from the artwork was when it was first revealed that Jamie was that they almost look the same age. I don't know if you got that, Alex and Jamie. And I was thinking, is she meant to be? Oh, she's meant to be 12. Okay, So that was just a bit weird.
I don't know if it's just like some artists have trouble maybe
I think
portraying children, or it's like 90s comics, you're not going to make a woman look too old either, so
it's
like, oh my god, she's like 30 or 40. Oh my god,
30. Yes.
Heaven
Drop some
forbid.
crow's feet on her quick.
Oh gosh, I'm getting visions of those two old guys in the Muppets, guys, when we're all talking. That's all I'm thinking.
kids watch the YouTube. That's what it looks like here with four.
But what have we got? And I haven't got the comics in front of me. Like, where does it? Yeah, heading up to 15. Where are we at that point?
Well, I was going to say 7, 8, and 9 was Operation Galactic Storm.
Yeah. Which is really good. I loved it. I mean, you guys covered it in the Quantum Zone, right? Justin, did you like it? Again?
I loved that so much, and it has some of my favorite moments from this whole series. Actually, in those issues, I loved the issue where Captain Atlas was fighting Wonder Man, and he kept.
Oh yes, that was so cool.
That one sequence where he's trading blows and
and Rick Jones
is like, stop! Don't hit me! That went on for like a couple of pages. I think it was.
That was really good.
Funny.
Yeah. At the end when he just like grabs Rick, he's like, "All right, I got to get the timing." And Rick's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. That was so cool, and I just remember the double page splash. There's a double page splash.
Oh yeah, the
Wonder Man and
flow.
Yeah. Now that was fantastic. Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, and also the dialogue that Simon had with the Vision, and I think it was the following issue where they're on the craft trying to defuse the bomb. That was some great dialogue between those two.
Well, I mean, they're debating the ethics of murder. Basically,
war.
Genocide.
You've just got to out-logic the Vision. That's all. That's it.
From issue 7.
That is poster-worthy. That's really
Oh my
cool.
god! Yeah, I'll have to put the links for when we covered these 3 on the Quantum Zone. Will, we didn't just review them, Ray. Me, Will, and Matt did live reads.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And there's
commentary. Yeah,
and there are a few artists that make Quasar look as good as Greg Capullo, but Jeff Johnson's one of them.
I agree. He looks really good in it as well.
Okay, not to bring. That's not Galactic Storm. I was going to say, 13, 14, and 15 were the Infinity War crossovers.
Oh yes,
and not to bring up a sore subject, Will, but it's like again our favorite character. It's our favorite character. It's like, how many guys was Adam Warlock fighting in that scene? I mean, we saw him fighting Quasar in the Quasar book. You see him fighting Wonder Man here. I'm like, how many? I know. That's what me and Will's argument always is, that we're like, we don't like Adam Warlock because he seems too arrogant and like when a lot of people write him, especially Starlin, it's like oh, he's the perfect, he's the most powerful. And it's like really, he's taking out Quasar, he's taking out Wonder Man, he's taking
Like, really?
Actually, I kind of liked that angle that Gerard Jones went with it, because it was kind of like such a generic fight with Adam Warlock and all the heroes that there was enough room to like, okay, for our issue, our series, we can just focus on Wonder Man's part in it. And at the end of the day, he didn't have that much impact. Like it was fun to see him fight Adam Warlock, but it was self-contained in that it didn't ruffle any anything in the overall story arc. But yeah, I thought it was really cool.
I mean, yeah, they did a good job considering. I think they would tell me like, okay, this issue has to take place between like issue 3 and 4 of Infinity War.
Right.
And,
Yeah. I think they even had an editor's note in there. This issue takes place between this and that.
Yeah. And we even get the it ties into how Iron Man and is it the Spider-Man and Hawkeye were bashed on the rooftop?
Yeah.
And that ties into the greater kind of event, but you don't really need to have read all the other issues for it. But that was cool. And then we see the introduction of the doppelganger Wonder Man, who, Infinity Wars, it's all about seeing your doppelganger. So he looked a little bit more kind of S&M.
I was going to say, he looked like Wonder Man, just like dog collars.
But he comes to
Mad Max Beyond Wonder Man.
He comes to a pretty bad end. I mean, really?
Oh, the doppelganger,
I mean, that's pretty hardcore.
I can't remember. Sorry, refresh. How did the doppelganger?
Wonder Man gets mad and rips his head off.
That's right. Yes, he's decapitated. That's right. Because I remember also as well in that, I think that was one of the. The dog collar. There's the dog collar.
The dog collar goes flying. Yeah.
But I remember in that thing, isn't that one of the first instances we see Wonder Man basically kind of like deflate?
Yeah.
And he's fighting it, and he gets wet, and he's drawn like more, spindly
Scrawny.
And scrawny.
Because that Nega Bomb goes off during Operation Galactic Storm and destabilizes his powers, which we didn't even hit in the somewhere in 10 through 12. Yeah, he blasts his friends with ionic energy.
Because they get Angor.
That monk or whatever.
That's
that
right.
was a good story. I really liked that one.
That was bloodthirsty. Like it just did. Like he just cut a massacre through that kind of mall and all that. That was There's that woman. I remember. It's quite memorable. The woman. She gets squashed by that giant donut. It was terrible.
But you're right, because once
it was the 90s too.
Yeah. Once we hit Galactic Storm, the series takes a much darker and philosophical turn toward, it's really kind of a meditation on violence, because he has to, and rage, because he has to be enraged to actually.
He basically becomes the Hulk. He has to get angry to get strong. Yeah.
But he's smart enough to understand what that's doing to him, and the choice, to be powerless or to be angry, and he chooses, most of the time to be angry, which is, I think. Again, the series was just so well written and had such great art. I mean,
Sorry, Will. Speaking of the art, when he does kind of finally turn to the dark side, so to speak, I love it how it's mainly the eyes, but they gave him that kind of shade of blue, so it almost looks inhuman, because or a lot more sinister, because he decides to stuff it. I'm just going to be mad all the time. Criminals have to pay, all that sort of stuff. So it was a really interesting way. I thought that as well. Will Phil? I keep saying Will. Phil. Justin. But I forgot my point was. But yeah.
I mean, they as they show here, you can make him look pretty sinister. When they have him standing in the shadows, like somebody Ray doesn't want us to bring up, and they just make those red. You see those red eyes. I mean, he can look.
Jeff Johnson did that a lot. You would see kind of the red eye, have a shine, light coming out of it and something. It's really great. So, we saw the covers for the first 2. 3 was our friend Gamma Burn. What was number 4?
4 was Splice.
Splice.
Yeah. How do we feel about Splice as a villain?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. What do you reckon?
I mean, I think he could be a pretty cool villain. I don't know if he's a Wonder Man villain. A Wonder Man villain though.
Yeah.
I get that. That they wanted to do. They wanted to do like a Hollywood villain, but I mean, he almost reminded me. I mean, later on, like in that there was that backup in the second annual, which we'll get to, but it's like he kind of almost reminded me of like a Hollywood version of like Deathstroke or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah,
And
he
had what is the second annual, or was it
yes.
the first annual?
I thought it was
second-
He had a
oh,
backup in the second
second
annual.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Peter
Dan
David,
Slott.
was it? Oh, Dan Slott, sorry. Dan
Dan
Slott,
Slott,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like written almost as
Like
if it's a
movie
comic
script.
book script. Yeah, movie
Yeah.
script. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
movie script.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
good one.
Oh yeah, like I said, we'll get to that. But no, I'll say. Remember, I was saying, like they had to deal with 2 crossovers, but even that first annual, that was a crossover.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, even though it was a crossover, it was really kind of a self-contained story.
you really-
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is, I think, why a lot of ways that annual worked. But
Mm.
even
Yeah,
beyond the
basically-
artwork.
Yeah. Basically, this computer program takes over a old Hydra base. Yeah.
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 Well, and then I thought it was fun because were you guys reading Guardians of the Galaxy at the time?
Yes.
Well, not
Yeah.
the bit up to Starhawk, that kind of surprised me. But yeah, I was.
But Hollywood. So he was, and I thought that was really kind of cool that it went from this annual for specifically to the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, because of the what's it, Max? Because Max was kind of shot out through the rocket, and so we find that the computer, because that's it, right? The rocket explodes, but the rocket head kind of breaks in through the atmosphere, and Max is searching for other things to take over. So yeah, that was a really cool segue, I think. But yeah, the whole thing about I guess the annual accentuates it as well about Simon Williams's acting, which is prevalent throughout the whole series as well. So he's filming that commercial, and you get Spider the Perv underwater checking out all the. I guess I just got to remember which one's my sister. But yeah, so he's constantly he's got gigs.
90s, they knew what to give splash pages to.
No,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole he's trying to get his acting kind of sorted as well. We see later on about Macbeth, and that was a big thing towards the end.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like it how it's very much it's got such a different flavor because it's LA, and it's something that you don't really see. Like Simon Williams is the actor, like superhero. There's no other superhero I can think of, right? No. Yeah.
Not in
Well, I
Marvel, I don't think. Yeah.
He gets a little. I and this may just be me, but I kind of saw shades of Booster Gold.
Okay.
You remember the early. What if it was a mid '80s series that Dan Jurgens did? Was it?
Yeah.
Mid '80s. Yeah. Where he's always chasing a dollar. Well, Simon's not necessarily chasing a buck. He's chasing fame, right? I guess,
Right.
and acting. So it kind of reminded me a little bit about that. But the Macbeth, Macbeth happened. When did that happen? Was that?
That was towards
I think
the
that
end
was
of the
later.
end,
Yeah, I think
right,
so. Yeah.
series. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was. I thought that was really cool because, specifically they played to the scene. Hey, well, pride and this and this. He's like, hey, I got that's all me at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to save so much of like the second component for the next episode because there's so much cool stuff to talk about Wonder Man and his acting, like and what that means and why he's like he really kind of self-analyzes himself towards the end and like why he's acting, what it means to be human, all that sort of stuff. So it's really cool. I think that second half.
And before we forget, issues 5 and 6. That was the 2-part with the Beast and Rampage.
Right.
Yeah.
Rampage, yeah. The Beast gets clocked by a chimney stack.
More than once.
The first more than once.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love the friendship between Wonder Man and the Beast. I love it. It's one of my favorite things, actually, in Marvel. And I'm so happy that it was well represented in this series. Not only once, but also in one of the annuals.
Hey, Justin, that's Noel. So.
Well, something else I love the running gag of how could you be in LA without a car?
Yes.
Yes.
I know. I was hoping that was going to go through the whole thing, but yeah, you're right. Every issue there was something.
They drop it for the Dark Wonder Man stuff, but it's like
at the end, even with the Spider-Man issue, it's
yes.
like
Yeah, that's right.
That's really My only complaint was that he lost his little rocket pod so early on in the series.
Oh,
and he had
yeah.
to like leap around like Hulk all the time. I thought, well,
Yeah.
doesn't he have spare rocket pods? I mean, can
Yeah.
Tony Stark just send him like a case of those? Like,
Yeah. And I liked it as well. They made mention, I don't know if that was mentioned elsewhere, but he did mention the rocket pods were connected directly to his ionic energy, which I thought was really cool because I just thought it was just some Stark tech that, just rockets. But the fact that it's got like limitless energy, that was really cool. But yeah, a concerted decision to make him just leap, I thought was an interesting decision. That was
kind of more
different.
Hulk-like, I mean, and I really feel like that's what they were kind of going for.
Well,
was
didn't he
to
say
make-
that in issue 1? He was like, well, if that idiot can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
No
He's like,
offense,
oh, it's
Justin.
not
I
as
know
easy
you're
as
a
it
Hulk
looks.
show.
Yeah. Oh, and with the fluctuating powers as well.
Oh,
You see in the
yeah.
annual, he tries to jump to that mountain, and he just jumps in. Well, he jumps into the sand first. They all laugh at him, and then he
jumps
tries
all
it again. He
Yeah,
jumps all the
then
way.
it happens again against that. And what was that, Angor or whatever? He's like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, it's like it's still happening,
Yeah.
Which I think was really cool because baseline Wonder Man is really powerful, right? So in no way did I think during this series that he was just overpowered, because I think Gerard Jones did enough to vary his power set that it made him vulnerable in many ways, like the rage, the fluctuations. So I think it was a good direction to take the character.
Was it ever established exactly how strong he is? Is he class 100 or is he?
He's
I think so.
Yeah, Will. We should be asking Will. He's a Marvel handbook.
Mr. Handbook, official handbook of the Marvel Universe. Yes.
I think he's class 100. He's beyond, isn't he?
I
he's
think
beyond.
so. I think he's up there with Thor and
Okay.
and
Hercules.
Hercules.
Yes.
Nice.
But
he's really
we got so much of his doubt, and it really I don't feel like it ever really super examined it, but he was really afraid leading up to the Korvac saga, after his resurrection, whatever you want to call it. But then and he mentions it, I think in one of the, I can't remember where he mentions it, one of the issues, but I died again fighting Korvac. They're like, what? Yeah, we all died and then we got better. What? Oh no, it was in the interview. It was in the interview in the back of the first 3 issues.
Okay.
Letters, pages thing. Yeah.
But, he mentions it, and then he's gotten past that, and then he still is plagued with all these doubts. Why does he do things? Because ultimately, everybody kind of thinks of him as a beefcake, right? He is just this empty-headed.
I know Justin does.
Guy. Yeah. But he was, he ran a company. He was, a weapons designer. He's, I thought it was really smart of Jones to bring in that, he played the bumbling whatever. He's playing this and playing that. And that played into him wanting to be an actor. Which was I thought was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good kind of explanations, I think, from Jones. And yeah, I do love the fact that it was an explanation of like Wonder Man. He's not like a himbo.
No,
like, he's actually, because he did start off as a munitions kind of what was he, a technician or inventor or something, or he had some sort of role in it. So so he's got some smarts in it, and like even in that annual one, he knows how to kind of disarm the rocket thereabouts. He said, I don't know much of it, but I recognize a something when I see one, and he rips it off. So yeah, I really like it. It's just really a revamp for the character, and I think it's really done well. It's a shame that it'd be so good. Maybe with the TV series coming up, we will get a series, at least a mini series of Wonder Man, because he's such a he hasn't got enough attention. I think it's such an interesting character. Yeah.
Well, there have been rumors, haven't there, that he's going to crop up.
Is that
somewhere?
confirmed? I thought it was confirmed, right? A Disney,
is it?
a D Plus series.
He's getting a series. He is getting a Disney Plus.
He's getting a
Disney Plus
series.
series,
Yeah, they haven't cast. Yeah,
They haven't
Sorry,
cast it, but I don't think. You would think that they would want to put out some comics with Wonder Man in them, or perhaps collect something. But we've kind of been down that road too.
yeah.
this is a kind of a throwback to before the Wonder Man series, but did any of you ever read the original 4-issue West Coast Avengers series?
Yes. Yeah.
Because,
the miniseries.
Yeah.
Yep.
Graviton supposedly kills him in the pool. You're at the end of number 3. He drowns him in the pool, right? And you're like, oh my God, Wonder Man's dead. What are they going to do? Well, he doesn't have to breathe, right?
Yeah.
But that I really feel like he really found kind of a home, and that was I think it was Steve Englehart that was writing.
Steve Englehart,
yeah,
right?
And then the Vision and Scarlet Witch series, gave him a really big. Now there was something in one of the annuals that showed his previous costumes. Oh my God, I remember those, and they're so horrible.
That was
the green one
in the first annual. Where, it was like,
it was his greatest enemies, and one of
like
his
top 10
previous
greatest
costume
enemies.
designers.
Yeah.
And the Beast pops in. He's like, hey, I designed one of those.
Yeah, the first few were cool. And you're talking about the jacket as well. Yeah, the jacket and the black slacks and the red boots.
The
not the
Christmas
best
tree one, not the Christmas
I don't remember
tree one.
that second one, the Christmas tree one. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Was that like when he first came back? I think from the dead.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but the first one I thought was really good, and he, at the end, and we'll talk about this in the next episode, but he brings back that infinity symbol, which was part of his original costume, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I love the simple black with the jetpacks and the red W. It's just so cool. Got the guns. His arms.
Get the guns on full display.
Get the guns on full.
That's right.
And that cover to number 1 is just so iconic.
It's amazing.
It's really great, and that costume is just you're right. That's the perfect costume.
That's
his
a perfect
costume that he gets at the end of the series is
What did you think of? Yeah.
But it's not this costume. This is
It's got that third color. The gray is in there as well. It's it's got the pouches, but you can't go past.
You got to have pouches.
Yeah. And also
nice and simple,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it. And the wristbands. And so there's enough color in. I mean, it's just generally what good superheroes have, mainly predominantly 2 color scheme. So red and black is not really that used that often. I'm blanking on any other superhero that had. Oh, Deadpool, kind of, but
Batwoman,
red,
Batwoman, but
Right.
Wonder Man is predominantly black with red accents, which is really cool. I think also as well with the first half of the Wonder Man series, the love interest, we did talk about Ginger and Alex, but there's also some pining over Wanda we see as well. I'm pretty sure. So there's that, and again, it plays up to his those internal issues about her falling in love with essentially a being that is Wonder Man, right?
A copy of him,
A copy of him. So it's like, well, hey, if you love... And then doesn't he ask her... I'll get my issues muddled up, because are you just in love with synthetics as well? Because she ends up... she ends up... I can't remember the context, but she ends up liking... There was another synthetic person, and so Wonder Man calls her out saying, like, you like Vision, but you like this person as well. But yeah, I thought that's very interesting. It's such a dynamic between Vision, Wonder Man, and Scarlet Witch. So it was good that...
Well, I mean,
good that...
It was a really great observation by the writer to say, look, if it's really his brain patterns in the Vision, then anything that she would do to make herself more attractive or show that she, was in love with the Vision would be working on him too, and I thought that was just another.
That's very smart. Yeah, absolutely. So he's got a few, takers. Wonder Man, he's not short of his suitors.
He's a Hollywood actor. What do you expect?
He even shares a night with Wanda, doesn't he? Don't they?
He does. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, towards the end. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But even the landlady.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wasn't that during Hidden Depths, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the second half. Yeah. But Gloria as well. She has this. I don't want to call it romantic, but she really digs him. So yeah, that's cool.
It's more like that troll up Ginger. I can't believe he gets every time of day.
That hussy.
It wasn't like it was back in the 40s.
So yeah, I mean.
Ask Steve Rogers how it was in the 40s.
So yeah, I mean, it's really a really strong series. Did you find as well? This was detracting in no way as well, but I found Gerard Jones's style of writing. He does put a lot more writing there than some writers. You know, it's a lot more fleshed out, but I don't think that overpowered the art or anything at all. But I did notice for 90s comics, at least, there was a lot more written.
I noticed that too.
But I would say that just comparing it to as wordy as he was on the Green Lantern and Guy Gardner titles, this one was a lot. Would you agree, Phil, that this was a lot less wordy?
Really?
Maybe, yeah.
Because there were some times that it was almost overpowering to the art, that we got to see in Mosaic, for instance.
Oh, okay.
Typically in Mosaic,
Right.
and then sometimes in Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Guy Gardner not so much, because that was just Guy Gardner. But
yeah. So yeah.
I really feel like this maybe it was the art, maybe I don't know, but I feel like it is a more streamlined version of what he typically was writing, at least at the time. And but I'm not sure about that. I'd have to do a word count, and I'm too lazy to do that.
Yeah, maybe he did learn to kind of refine it a bit and let the if we had to try to critique this as amateurs, maybe well, me anyway, like Will, I mean you're a writer, but
ish.
Yeah, but I think just letting the art speak for itself for most of it. So depending on how you write the comic book, allowing the artist to tell the story as well, and perhaps maybe I haven't read the Mosaic issues, but perhaps Jones was still kind of trying to get that balance right, and I felt it was still good here. I just noticed it to be a lot more wordy than other comics. I think the balance is there. I mean, you don't feel the art is overwhelmed by the text. But having said that as well, I mean, there are a lot of conversations and dialogue in the series between the characters that are really important, because he does flesh out all the supporting characters. So you need to have that kind of long conversation. You can't have them just say a couple of sentences to each other and that's it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, and there's only so much visually that you can do that. So
it's true. And there were a lot of heavy concepts here too.
Yeah.
I mean, after the Operation Galactic Storm, there was that whole issue where he was basically dealing with his PTSD from that whole experience, where he had that traumatic nightmare of all the dead people from the bomb and all that stuff.
That's right.
So there was that whole issue, just dealing with that, the fallout of that experience. And then there was the whole thing with the Cambodia massacre and all that stuff with the Angkor storyline, and that was some pretty heavy stuff as well. And then his whole existential crisis that came about after that, So yeah, I can see he probably wanted to be wordy because people wouldn't really expect that, I think, in a Wonder Man comic to have something be more wordy and cerebral with a character like this, who, like we were talking about, was kind of pigeonholed as being a beefcake for quite a while. And I think in Avengers West Coast, for all intents and purposes, he was. He was the strong guy. He was the guy that beat up people.
Well,
and
again,
for a while, he got into a pissing contest with Iron Man about who was the alpha male.
Very much so.
For a while, he was written as, kind of an alpha male beefcake. So I think it was smart, for Gerard to pull away from that and make him a little bit more intellectual.
Well, I mean, it is harder in team books too to
true,
to flesh out any character, but and that like you bring up that PTSD. Anyone would have PTSD after like the Nega bomb and everything, but I was always like too. It's like maybe some of that is like physical, because since the bomb did mess with his ionic levels. I mean, that's basically most of what he's made up of. So I mean, he could have had basically a chemical imbalance too. Just because that ionic energy was going nuts.
Well, it was really great about his existential crisis, because the whole death-like state. There is no death-like state. There's death. Which I thought was really kind of smart to not try to explain it away, but said, look, no, you died, but you were etched into the electromagnetic spectrum. This is you now. This is your body. You are you are this
You're a bundle of
electromagnetic.
energy. Yeah.
You're a bundle of
Yeah.
energy, and you're immortal, and there you go. And
That's a hard thing to digest, though. Like as a
Yeah.
person, it's just like, yeah. I mean, the whole thing, the way that Jones phrases it, like, you're just a lot of energy, and you've got the memories of someone who died, and you think you're that person, but are you that person? Like, because you're not. Essentially, it's really, really. I mean, who would have thought we could be this deep about like Wonder Man? The West Coast Avengers. It's
Yeah.
I know.
it's crazy.
great.
But
And like
yeah.
I said, probably people weren't expecting that when they were picking up Wonder Man to read a story as deep as that.
yeah.
So
Do you
I like that he took that risk with this.
Yeah, it is a risk. I mean, do you think that during the times, it would have detracted a lot of, maybe there would have been some Wonder Man? I mean, Gerard Jones says at the end as well that, the popularity of Wonder Man and the fans are still there, but do you think it would have deterred a lot of fans that he'd made this direction? He'd gone in this direction, sorry?
I don't know. I read some of the letters in the letters pages to see what people were thinking about it at the time, and it seemed like a lot of people were really receptive to the more deep, kind of heavy stuff.
I mean, that whole
Yeah.
thing with like, am I Simon Williams or am I just a bundle of energy that thinks he's Simon Williams? I mean, that reminded me of Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, when he did the whole thing where it's like, oh no, Alan Holland's dead. You're just a
you just his a memory. You have his memory.
creature who has his memories. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and
What
then
do you think?
also
Yes, sir.
the going back all the way to Zemo and his creation. You're just a living engine of destruction. That's all you can do is destroy.
A walking weapon.
A weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was, I
Yeah,
thought,
that's gonna mess with your head when a Nazi makes you revenge.
Exactly. Yeah,
frickin'
exactly.
Nazis.
And especially where he used to make weapons, and then he
Yes.
was actually turned into a
Becomes
weapon.
one, yeah.
I
Yeah.
always liked that twist on it. I liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you can start seeing a lot of parallels then with him and Tony Stark and Iron Man, which, I mean, of course, and I guess it gives more credence to their rivalry, which is, it's really, really cool, interesting to note. Yeah.
All right, so should we cut it there, and then come back to the second episode on the second half of this series?
Yeah, I mean, because there is plenty that I'm just trying to save it.
I know,
It's good. Yeah.
All right. So yes, kids. We'll jump back on in a few minutes to record, but yes, you'll hear the next episode in a week or two. So by the time you hear this, we'll have both parts recorded. But yeah, send in your Wonder Man thoughts. I mean, I do almost as many episodes as Ray, so I mean,
way more, guys, way more. I feel, and for the next episode, can we make special room for a discussion on Hitmaker?
Yes.
Annual 2.
Oh my goodness.
We should also talk about who we would like to see play Simon.
Oh, good one.
MCU
Yes, good one.
series.
Judson's gonna pull out the biscuit file.
I've got the biscuit list ready.
Yeah. Here's what I've prepared earlier, and then share screen.
And a lengthy dissertation about each.
All right, so kids, yes. So send your thoughts. Email us CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-Capes. Yeah, I was gonna say we better cut it here because everyone's plugs are gonna take like 20 minutes. All right. Yeah. So yes, this isn't a regular episode, but yeah, you can find all the shows we do. Charlie and I do an Avengers podcast. Like I said, this is gonna fill in the time slot of the Daredevil podcast in September. So find links to all the social medias we do, links to our YouTube channel, everything we do, no matter what it is, gets a video. So like, who says, smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of anything.
Smash it.
And of course, the Patreon. Please, again, we're paying for this out of our own pocket. Every little bit helps, but $3 to $5 gets you early access to creator interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats, Mr. DG Chichester.
I got the good mic out for you guys.
And again, the August,
Chichester chats.
the episode I recorded in August, which by the time this goes up, you'll have already released for the general public. Yes, it was DG Chichester and Fabian Needs to Ease Us. So
Love that one.
I basically
Can I-
sat there and listen to them talk.
I feel I've got a request. Can we possibly get Justin and DG Chichester together, because I think with those two voices together,
yeah.
I think I'll just be a puddle of goo. So
Well, that was
All right, and I forget what I was saying. Oh yes, also on the Patreon, superhero movie brackets, because Lil Hellfire loves people's pain. I mean, Will, you joined us for the Green Lantern episode. You know that
Much
that's brutal.
pain, much man pain.
Yeah, because yes, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen versus Sin City 2 is already up, and then the next one will be the Phantom versus the Spirit.
ooh,
yeah.
it's gonna be good. Yeah.
And then October is Spawn versus Meteor Man. So maybe
Meteor Man.
Oh,
And I
Ray-
remember
Ray
seeing
watched
some ads
Meteor
for
Man for the
Meteor
first
Man
time.
in some of these Wonder Man comics.
Yes!
Some ads for Meteor Man.
Yes,
was
there's
that? Sorry, Justin. Was that?
There were some ads for Meteor Man in some
Oh,
of these Wonder
They
Man
had they had
comics.
like a comic adaptation of it. Yeah.
Oh God.
So yeah, find that and the merchandise at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics. All right. I was gonna say who has the least plugs, but everyone has many plugs. Will, go for it.
All right. You can find me at Walred. That's at WALLRED at Gmail and Twitter and Facebook and other social media that I forgot that I've set up. I also write Crossover Division, which the 4th issue is being worked on right now after being successfully
Yeah.
funded on Kickstarter. And you can find out more about that at crossoverdivision.com. If you want to check out other books I write, you can look at diaryofnight.com as well, which is kind of a modern day vampire tale. And Phil is not the only person that puts up with me. Writer Kevin Joseph and I do a weekly Friday night, late Friday night chat with Kickstarter comics creators with live campaigns, and we discuss those campaigns and they explain themselves. Hey, and then you obviously have great taste if you're watching this. So that means you love Quasar, and if you want to find out more about Quasar, you can go to the Quantum Zone at quantumzone.org.
I'll put it in my navel.
Yeah, boys, the party. I love the party.
Those live
yeah.
reads.
I'm gonna have to put the links to those 3 Quantum Zones we did on the 3 Wonder Man issues in the show notes. So
Yes,
Yeah.
and listeners, definitely worth checking out the Quantum Zone. Go check it out. I've been doing a re-listen as well. It's really fun.
really,
Really?
yeah, it's the easiest way on YouTube. There's
Miss
a playlist
McQuasar.
on YouTube, yeah.
So do
Over
we.
150 episodes, so yeah. Give you some. All right. Justin the Owl Osgood, where can people find you and remember the new job you have? All right, where can
Oh, yes. I'm also the co-host of Gamma Charge, the strongest podcast there is, where Russell and I talk about everything to do with the Hulk and She-Hulk. We also co-host Tomes of Evil, comic book supervillain podcast, where we talk about all the bad guys. Ray and Russell and I have started a new show called Predator and Prey, where we're talking about the Predator, as well as films, comics, and new books. And The Lost Library of Legends is still coming, I promise. It's still there. It's waiting. It's waiting for the right time. And I'm also added as one of the co-hosts for We Are the Night, the Batman podcast. Once a
Batman.
month.
My favorite character.
There it is.
Starting towards the end of the year, although I will be joining Phil and Lilith for our discussion of Arkham Asylum. Coming
Yes,
soon.
for episode 100. Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
And that's it.
And he's also a great Lil Hellfire impressionist.
Superior Puss. Giant sized man thing. It's so salty. Talking about meat is so natural for Lilith.
Amen. All right, and kids, the busiest man in podcasting,
no.
Ray. Where
Phil.
do people find you?
Yeah, just Ray Pod at Ray Pod, REY Pod. That will take you just on Twitter. Love chatting about anything geeky. I'm a massive geek. So shows like Into the Night, the Moonot podcast, Tanoa's Tafihir, Spider Woman podcast, Last Sons of Krypton, Superman podcast. I have I have the privilege of being on Capes every month as well at the end of the month with Phil and Dave doing Scarlet Spider on the Ultimate Spider Cast. And as Justin mentioned, Predator and Prey. It's so much fun. Can't wait to get more into Predator, which seems to be doing well at Marvel. So, and the movie did well. So we're all pumped at it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot of meat.
It's a show. I think it was Noel made the joke. No, it's Predator and P. Ray.
Yes.
Finish.
All right. Great. I have blackmail material on all of you. All right, yes, kids, come back. We'll tie this up in episode 2 before Mom gets home. We'll have one more episode of this. I wanted to. Did I tell you, Justin? I forget who I told. I said I wanted to record a drop to use this month, and I never did it. It's like, hey, Lilith, if you're mad at this, or no, hey, everybody, if Lilith gets mad at this, let's all blame Ray.
Terrible.
How far away? She can't get to you. Well,
Exactly, that's true.
She's
No,
small.
you
She
know.
could mail herself to you. You know? 5'3" coming at you out of a box.
Yeah. Oh, another omnibus, and I open it up.
You can never take a vacation again, Lil.